In this tutorial, we're going to be targeting the other scenes instead of targeting the main timeline. So let's go to our code, and we're going to make a copy of this function here. So instead of go to label, it'll actually be go to scene label. So I'm going to copy that. Actually, I should copy the comment as well, and the first time it's invoked, and paste that underneath. And this will be jump to scene label, and this will be called go to scene label instead of just regular go to label. And I'll do that for the same thing down here, go to scene label. And we need something that's a little bit different here. Instead of go to and stop a label, we need to go to and stop a label on a scene. So I'm going to have my scene as a new argument of that go to stop function. That means that I need to have the same thing for when I use when I invoke it. So go to scene label, my button is the button we're going to click on, my label is the label to go to, and of course my scene, which will also be a string, will be the scene that that label is on. So let's take a look at it. I think that's everything we need. I'm going to go ahead and comment out the frame label text though, because we don't really need that. We'll be able to tell when we jump to the right labels. Anyway, we're going to be targeting new buttons here, because we already have the buttons that jump to the new scenes. So I'm going to insert the target path for that scene1_btn, and that will jump to the start2 label in the scene 2. Now in order to find the scenes, you can see them right up here. We have scene 2, and it does have a space in it, but since this is a string, it's fine. We can do scene space 2 as a string, and that space in there is okay because that's part of the scene name. Anyway, I now have that invoked. Let's go ahead and change or check our syntax, make sure there are no errors. And if I test this out, I'm going to see if there's any errors. You'll see it says frame label start2 not found in scene 2. So this is kind of an interesting issue that I've found, and that is that even though in the documentation it says that you can jump to a label in another scene, I find it to be extremely buggy. So it does seem to work though when you have a frame number. So I'm going to change my label to my frame, and this is going to be a number or even an int. Oops, I think int has to be small. This is going to be an integer that it goes to, and it could even be an unassigned integer, which means they're all positive. And so instead of my label, I'm going to be going to my frame, and this is going to be going to a number instead. So it's going to be frame 1 of scene 2. So let's test that out and see if that works. And it indeed does work. Why it won't allow you to jump to a frame label, I really don't know. But it's one of those weird kind of buggy things in Flash that sometimes works, sometimes does not work. Anyway, the next thing that we're going to do is invoke this function again. So I'm going to copy that function name, or the invoking the, let's see, what is that thing called? Well, invoking it. And I'm going to go to scene 2 and come to that code right here. Now you'll notice I have two buttons here. This happens to be the scene2_btn, and I'm going to jump back to scene 1 with this. So I need to make sure that the code is at the same place the button is. So I also need to go to the right code here. So if you have your script pinned, then it makes it a little bit difficult. Anyway, this should be the scene button 2, and that's going to go to frame 1 of scene 1. So now I should be able to go forward and go back. Now you might notice that I only had to invoke the function here, and the reason why is because since this other scene is considered part of the same timeline, it can read the function from the main timeline earlier. Save your work and go on.